As we begin this new year, we have gathered at a defining moment in the history of this mighty state. In the face of our current economic climate, we seek to emerge from the shadow of this economic crisis stronger and ready to solidify our place as a global financial leader in the 21st century. The world is changing. We must keep pace if Delaware is to survive and thrive in the 21st century. No longer can we rely on the old ways and our views of our government, in particular our state treasury. In this new era defined by the financial crisis of 2008 that has caused turmoil throughout the state and nation, the modern state treasury has evolved from the primary issuer of checks and bonds to an economic advisor working cooperatively with the governor and other elected officials in order to promote sound financial policies that will support your families and our businesses reach their full potential. This election represents the beginning of a new generation of Delaware public servants, respectful of the guiding principles set forth by our nation's founders and emboldened to redefine the spirit of this political landscape. It is with this renewed spirit that I offered a framework during the campaign to help usher our state treasury into this new era. Humbled by the support and the consent of the people of this great state, it is my goal to build upon the successes of my predecessors, two of whom Governor Markell and Senator Carper spoke to you today, did such a wonderful job, and put forth further ideas under that framework for our state treasury to create policies that propel our state forward. Today, as we emerge from the shadow of this economic crisis, I offer just four brief thoughts on our collective efforts to restore prosperity with the aid of redefined and re-energized Treasurer's Office. First, as we emerge from this economic crisis, we must take steps to modernize our state treasury and build relationships with the global financial community. Our state treasurer is staffed with some hardworking and dedicated individuals, some of whom are present today, and they must be equipped with the sufficient technology to monitor global technologies and make sure our investments are safe. See, Pete, I'm trying to work in a little money right now, in case you didn't notice. Thank you, sir. A few weeks ago, members of our transition team met with the Federal Reserve in New York, some key investment banks, and representatives of the New York Stock Exchange to discuss creating a warning system that will provide critical information to you and your families and other businesses in a timely manner. Unlike the great work of the Delaware Financial Advisory Council that provides lawmakers with guidance on the state's revenue, this financial early warning system is provide different types of information about critical sectors of our economy in a coordinated manner. In other words, if people have the information to make key decisions, they won't dig a bigger ditch if they're in financial problems and in financial times. Second, as we emerge from the shadow of this economic crisis, we must promote innovation within the Office of the State Treasury. I recognize this is a difficult economic climate and our budget is tight. But we must find creative ways to energize and foster creativity in our state workforce. The governor and members of the General Assembly have done a wonderful job managing our state finances, and to that, we should all give them applause and credit. It has been a difficult time. It is my intention to find creative ways to spark innovation within our state treasurer's office to promote ideas that seek to move our state forward and improve our economic destiny. As I wrote in the first line of the framework submitted to the people of this state for its approval, it is my sincere belief that ideas that better mankind do not belong to individuals, they belong to the people. As you know, not every idea that will be proposed or implemented will be successful. You just heard Pete's thoughts on that. Also, our lawmakers are not always going to agree on how to promote innovation within our state treasury. However, we must not allow this imperfection or potential disagreements to prevent us from offering those new ideas. The spirit of this generation requires a shift from the demoralizing political rhetoric of cost-cutting and efficiency to a more uplifting rhetoric of effectiveness and innovation. To this end, I pledge to work with the governor and administration and the General Assembly to re-engineer this very important office. Third, as we emerge from this economic crisis, we must support the next generation of Delawareans. Our current economic plight has resulted in too many young Delawareans full of hope, vigor, and ideas, not able to enter into the ranks of our government. For any successful entity, recruiting young, talented individuals is paramount to its future. Our state government is no different. Each year, too many of our young people educated in Delaware schools and Delaware colleges seek to give back to our community through government service, but are unable to fulfill their dream because there's no work. As a result, we are losing our best and our brightest to our sister states that have found creative ways to work around their budget limitations to engage these young people. It is important that we support these young people in this new era. And I want your children and your grandchildren to have the same opportunities that have been placed before me and exceed the milestones of my generation. Some of you might remember that campaign pledge that I would only work for $1 during my first year in office. And if you forgot it, trust me, my political enemies will remind you. It turns out that it's a very difficult thing, if not legally impossible, to give back one state's salary. Yes, I know what you're thinking, don't get me started there. So I have decided to do the next best thing. I am donating my entire first year's salary, after tax of course, to the United Way of Delaware for the creation of a public service fellowship that will fund 2 fellows to serve in our office of the state treasury. I wouldn't clap too hard. That means if we go out for lunch, lunch is on you. I know no better way to express my commitment to opening the doors of public service to the next generation of Delawareans. And I hope many people will follow suit. And I'm also grateful for United Way for all the support that they're giving to this cause. And finally, as we emerge from the shadow of this economic crisis, we must be prepared to weather unexpected storms and remain focused and principled in our resolve to the people of this state. As many of you know, last year we witnessed a surge of negative campaigning unprecedented in our state. Many people thought the darkest hours of my campaign occurred during the final weeks of the election when my opponent and his bloggers used lies from my personal life to try to derail my dream of helping people. Ironically, this was not the case, since I knew they were lies, and with time, the truth is always revealed. Sometimes it's difficult, but the truth is always revealed. Rather, the darkest moment of my campaign actually occurred last February. This was a period, despite my best efforts, my campaign could not get any traction. News articles were being reported about all the other candidates in the treasurer's race, and usually they would end with the final line, "By the way, Chip Flowers, a lawyer from Middletown, is also running." Pundits were saying that my days as a candidate were numbered, and some people suggested that I run for Register of Wills, which is kind of ironic because I didn't even have a will at the time, or auditor, and I don't have a background in accounting, but I digress. Even some of my supporters began questioning how long this campaign would last. And after meeting with my senior staff about the future of my campaign, one late Friday night that February, it was decided that I should go home and prepare a one-page document summarizing some of the ideas in my speeches that people would likely remember if I departed the race, and maybe someone would build upon them in the future. I went home after that meeting, clearly depressed in solitude, and prayed that God give me the strength to stand in the storm and allow me to show people that public service is not about politics or the person, it's about the ideas. And I was in my office, and there was a folder on my desk. And in case you've never run for public office, you'll be amazed at the information that people will give you bad about somebody else. And what I would do with my campaign staff, never even knew this, I would take that information and just put it in a folder and leave it at my desk drawer at home and not touch it. But on this day, I looked at that folder for a couple hours because the general political thinking is whenever things are going bad, you should go spill negative stuff on someone else to make you feel good. So after long periods of prayer, I basically took my pen out and had a choice to open the folder and begin that process of negative campaigning or to begin writing. And I began writing. And in fact, I couldn't stop writing. I took out Adams, Jefferson, Hamilton, Madison, Founders, Kennedy, Marshall, King, and others, and I just kept writing. And for almost 3 straight days, I wrote, only stopping for Hawaii Five-0, not the new one, the old one. Well, yeah, everybody needs a break. And I kept writing, and on the evening of the 3rd day, I stepped out of my office, clearly unshaven, with a plan that would forever shape the course of my life. The plan, some of you know, is called the Flowers Framework for Restoring Prosperity, and also known for some of my campaign signs, that bold plan, hopefully with a brighter future. So why do I share this story with you? I share the story because I don't think I would be here today had I opened the folder. And well, it is during our darkest hours when the storm is the roughest and the outlook is bleak. It's that our spirit and resolve to help people is really tested. For many Delawareans, like our fellow Americans, the last 2 years has been difficult. The storm has been rough, and the tide at times seems too high to recover. But I encourage all of you to keep your faith and to hold on to your principles. Tranquil waters lie ahead. Delaware, no storm lasts forever. And with the collective spirit of all of us, brighter days lie ahead, and our resolve to help people will overcome these obstacles. So I conclude today not knowing when, where, or how our journey together will end, but with the humility and the gratitude of knowing where it began, with the support of my family, my friends, and all of you, and most importantly, the people of the state of Delaware. So God bless each of you, the great state of Delaware, as we emerge from the shadow of this economic crisis into a new era with our redefined and re-energized state treasury. God bless you all.